Basically, every person that goes into the armed forces signs a blank check, up to and including their life. Everybody comes home changed.
When you get activated, you're totally obligated. That's your full-time life job. And you leave the people at home that you like. Corresponding with them isn't like being there.
If you ever say that you wasn't scared over there, you're lying or you wasn't there. You're gonna get scared. But you can't let that control you. I wouldn't wish Vietnam on anybody, but they can't take it away from me. And I was proud for what I was doing because I was doing my job.
This is for them, this is for their service, this is to recognize them.
After 50 years, we finally got welcomed home. That was something that was unreal.
Without a doubt, the highlight was that reception at the airport. Well, you could call it appreciation or honor, what it was. It was fantastic.
Had you ever experienced something like that before?
Absolutely not.
I think every veteran ought to go on this trip. It's something that they will never forget. And whoever goes with them, like my grandson went with me, he'll never forget it, and I'll never forget it. It's just something nice, that you never forget.
Name's Wayne Bailey. I was from Mansfield Green, Kansas, a rancher. I was drafted out of high school in 1966 and into the Army. And when your occupation is rancher or a cowboy, you're either going to be infantry or you're going to be engineer. So I was an engineer, which I was lucky. And especially when it comes to building fence and foot entanglement and stuff like that, because I've always built fence, barbed wire fences. So I become squad leader, got our papers for Vietnam. And that's when the Tet Offensive was going on. They'd fly us out and dump us out, and we'd dig in and build an area up. The Special Forces was on top, and there was a blind area where they couldn't lob the rounds over. So we went down here and built an artillery firing pad so they could cover the blind spot. It was tough, wet, cold, hot, dry, but you didn't want your end to be let down, and especially when you got in a tight spot where you're protecting people, and you find out for sure your buddy is there the same way you are. All I want to do is do my job and come home and get on a horse and cowboy like I was before I left.
Bob Robinson is my name. I served in the United States Army in Vietnam. I was working on the railroad in Chicago when I got drafted. My high school sweetheart and I were planning on getting married. Did not want to get married and go to Vietnam, but she wanted the engagement ring, so we got engaged. I was with MACV, Military Assistance Command Vietnam, MACV J6 Advisory. This unit was all officers or senior NCOs, except for myself and one other guy. We were both E4s. I worked with Vietnamese people every day, out and around different places. If I'd been a little older and had a little more appreciation for the opportunity to interact with these other people from other countries. It could have been a great thing. You know, you don't think about that when you're 20 years old or whatever.
There was a lot of stress over there, that demons, you didn't let it work on you.
When we came home from Vietnam, you didn't really want a new uniform to fly home very bad, and as soon as you got there, you got that off, you let your hair grow up, you never talked about it. You know, you didn't, nobody wanted to know, nobody was interested, nobody cared.
When I come home, I always talked about it, because I was afraid that if I didn't talk about it and let a lot of that steam out and stuff, it would work on me, that I'd do something bad. And to this day, there's a lot of the Vietnam guys, they won't talk about nothing, and that's too bad. But that's their thing, you know. I can't tell them. You know, I tell them what I do.
I started out in the Air National Guard, and I got activated into the active Air Force. My field was, I was a jet engine mechanic, worked on jet engines. We would work on the planes in Korea, put the engines in the plane, and then we would, when we overhauled the engines, we would go to Japan, and our planes were flying missions up on the DMZ because the tension was kind of high right then. There was a lot of guys over there got homesick. I mean, real homesick. You grow up some in the military. You're kind of there by yourself, but you're with other people. But it just makes you grow up, whether you want to or not.
My name's Dwayne Schmidt. I served in the Army. There was 6 of us boys in Opie that we signed up. At that one time, we could sign up for 2 years. Before we got on the boat, why, I asked some of the guys on the boat that got off, and hey, what's a good job to get on the boat? And they said, be a baker. So I said, by golly, I'll be a baker. 'Cause I was a pot man. I had to wash the pots and pans. It was just a great experience, not being by myself, especially on the boat, you know. And one night we got in a storm, and oh man, I don't know if I'm going to make it back home or not. But I was a Catholic, and I'd done a lot of praying. It seemed like I got through everything fine.
I went to the University of Wyoming on a special program, and they closed that program down and put us in the infantry. So that was a rather jolt. And so I ended up in the 66th Infantry Division. I went in the Army in 1943. This was at the time of the Bulge. They put us on the west side of France, around Saint Nazaire, where they had some submarine pens, German, and we were guarding them. It was extremely cold. I remember that part. You're sleeping out on the ground. You're not in a barracks or something, and so it's roughing it. Some, of course, you're all in the same boat, so you kind of you could complain about the same thing, and you have to complain a little.
An honor flight recognizes veterans from all eras. It initially started with World War II veterans to take them to Washington, D.C. free of cost to see their respective memorials. And in our particular honor flight, we match up students as guardians, and the conversations that happen are just priceless.
They call them guardians, the students that helped us. They were special. I mean, really special.
Them young people were very appreciative, and they wanted to know what you done and where you were and It was very, I mean, they were very interested.
When we started there at Opie that morning, when we come out of that schoolhouse to get on the bus, all the people that was out there and the Patriots guards, that was awesome.
I'd like to give a special welcome aboard to our honored veterans. Thanks for your service. God bless.
You can stay there.
You have your windows open. We have some honorary water cannons for our honored veterans on board. Thanks for your service. This is for you.
When we got to Kansas City, that was breathtaking. The reception we got in there was just unreal. Yeah, if somebody had asked me to talk then, I couldn't have done it. I'd been choked up. That was when reality kind of set in that, hey, after 50 years, we finally got welcomed home.
Without a doubt, the highlight was that reception at the airport. Well, you could call it appreciation or honor. What it was fantastic.
A lot of them have never been to Washington, D.C. They don't know the magnitude of what's here and why it's here. And a lot of these things, all of these things we see are here because of them. And so it gives them recognition in a different way.
I would never have went up there just to look at a museum or statues or anything like that. But after hearing so many other people, honor flight guys that's come back, then they go, wow, that was fantastic.
You know, this is our capital of our country, and I think that by seeing it, you can read about it, but to see it it's kind of different.
There were several awesome things we saw.
The Vietnam Wall was very impressive.
I would talk a little bit about a friend of mine, Danny Peterson. He was my best friend in our training. Danny was a great man. Too good to die on a foreign battlefield, but good enough to lay down his life for his friends. So I found out which panel he would be on, and I went to that panel and I found his name and touched his name. You know, it brought back a lot of memories, a lot of feeling, a lot of emotion. You know that the same feelings that you feel, there are families out there that are feeling that because of their loved ones. You know, for every one of these, there's people that care just as much as we care. When I go to the memorials, I realize that there are people in our country that did realize that it mattered and that they are doing their best to commemorate.
Arlington Cemetery was one that really moved me. Just kind of takes you. But
The best place was Arlington. It's just amazing. When we went to the tomb, unknown, 3 of us Vietnam vets and 1 Korean vet got to lay the wreath at the tomb. And that is an honor. In your wildest dreams, you would never ever think that a cowboy from Mountain Green, Kansas would actually be up there and do that. Now that'll bring a little tear to your eye. You don't want to talk to anybody right then. very proud and appreciative of the Lyon County school system for giving me a chance to go. Only thing I can say is, wow, that's fantastic, and I appreciate it and thank everybody that helped us with it.
It was a tearjerker. I tell you, you got tears in your eyes when you went to these memorials. Little kids would be there, thanks you for your service. And I tell you what, they'd bring tears to your eyes.
They'll never regret it. And it's just another thing that nobody can take it away from you.